it, you know? I mean,
No, no.
I was looking at this and, here, let me go down to the 3 months view here, right? So we were down
Mhm.
here, you know, and it was down, and then of course recently, about the time the Olympics started up, it started cranking up. You know, we were
Yeah,
setting new records like 4 or 5 days in a row. We set new records for the number of new infections in a day, and then we had
right.
a couple of days where it started to go back down. And I thought, okay, maybe
Yep.
maybe it was just a flare up, and it's gonna straighten out. But then the last 2 days here now, we've got today we've got or yesterday, I guess we had a new record. So
In Kumamoto, it's a new record,
is it a
right?
record?
It's a record in Kumamoto, 116.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw 116. I couldn't remember.
right.
I knew that we had gone over 100 a couple of times before, but 116 is a new record, huh? Okay.
I believe it was a new record. Yes, yes. According to my sources around me, everyone's saying it's a new record, right? But and
Okay.
also in Tokyo it was a new record, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah, 4,166. More than
Right,
4,000, I think, is the first time in Tokyo, Tokyo To itself. Yeah.
right. Very scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but over a
Yeah.
thousand cases here
Mm,
in Kyushu. 750 of those in Fukuoka, like you said,
mm.
116 in Kumamoto, 600 in Okinawa. Wow.
Wow. Okay. Gosh, that's quite scary.
Yeah.
And even though we're vaccinated, it's still quite scary, isn't it?
Well,
Because it doesn't.
I've only had one, so I'm
Oh,
not
you.
safe
That's
by
right.
any means. Yeah.
That's right. So you're not there quite yet,
Yeah.
right? I just got mine last week, so I'm not fully. It hasn't fully kicked in yet.
Mm.
I think it's what is it 3 months? Is that the
Um, I've heard, I think it was 8 or 9 weeks after the second vaccination,
right?
you reach the peak.
That's what
Yeah,
I heard as
yeah.
well. So yeah, yeah,
So a
okay,
total of
yeah, eight or
about
nine
3 months, I
weeks.
guess, from the time of the first vaccination, and then you get the second one
Hmm.
3 weeks later, and then another 9 weeks, and you're pretty much set. Yeah.
Yes, yes, right. So, gosh, it's scary. My sister said also cases in America are rising again, right? She said,
Yep.
"Oh, COVID's back on the rise. Our vacation's over." Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
and I
Yeah.
think
I
she
mean,
means that in a few ways.
yep.
The respite from COVID a little bit, and also their summer vacation there,
Yeah.
right?
I
Both of those meetings are coming to an end.
I saw that, would you want to
Mm,
send your child to a school, especially, kindergarten or a nursery school or something like that, if the teacher does not make their vaccination status known? I mean, because that's the thing, privacy issues, and so on, and being forcing the requirement of people to get vaccines and so on for their work. There's all kinds of discrepancies about that. Or
I know, seriously, you're right. You're right. Gosh, it's a tough one. To be honest, I wouldn't
yep,
unless I were to know the status, to be honest. Yeah.
exactly, me too.
And I mean, even there's such things too as what about jazz concerts where they're playing, wind instruments and whatnot. I mean,
Yep.
into the audience, would you want to go to a concert or a show with wind instruments if you didn't know the status?
No, no, absolutely not,
Yeah.
absolutely not. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's been over a year and a half now, or at least a good year and a half since we started with this, and
Hmm.
it's been this roller coaster ride. We hear about it. We say, oh, well, it started in China. It may spread, it may not. Because we had the experience with SARS that was pretty limited, actually. I mean, it was
Hmm.
the first SARS coronavirus was in some ways, a lot more severe. I mean, there was a higher death rate and so on, and yet it wasn't spreading as easily, right?
It wasn't spreading as easily, and so
Yeah.
therefore it kind of died out pretty quickly, or
Right, right.
got under control at least. I
So I'm
remember
sure.
that
Yeah,
around 2003 was it? Yes.
I Yeah, I
Uh,
can't remember which year it was now, but yeah, it wasn't that long ago, and, I think that that has kind of influenced some people's thinking at the beginning,
yeah,
that, "Oh, it's SARS-2. Well, the last SARS wasn't that big, so, maybe this one won't be either." Um,
yeah, right.
uh, very, very, very
We were
wrong
hoping, weren't we?
thinking.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll never forget though, last in 2020, the end of January, I was sitting there watching YouTube and just I heard about this strange. I think I was watching NBC, a rerun of NBC Nightly News or something, and
Uh-huh.
this strange virus. People were dying in China, falling down, and oh my God, right? Yeah, that was 2020, the end of January, and since then, look what's happened, right?
Yeah.
It's come on the rise, we've gone up and down, and it looks like it's not over quite yet, right?
Yeah, I mean, every time it seems like every time
Mm,
we think that we're starting to come out of it, it turns around and hits us with a new variant, or this or that, or some place relaxes the protocols or whatever, and the virus to get a fresh foothold and expand again. I mean, it's this cycle, that it goes up and it comes back down, and the next time it goes up a little higher, a little worse, and we're just kind of spiraling upward. It doesn't look good yet,
yeah.
no.
No, no, no. Let's hope this one comes down or gets under control a bit more, right? This surge right now. And I mean,
Absolutely.
the Olympics are still going on, so I mean,
Right.
who knows what's going to happen? I think it ends the 8th. Is that right?
Is that right? I can't remember now.
I
The eighth,
believe
that
it's the
sounds
8th.
right. Yeah.
So after that, we'll see possibly
Well, and
some
then I mean
upsurge.
the Paralympics are also scheduled, right?
That's right. I
That
forgot
starts
about
what,
that.
the
That's right.
13th or something like that? I
Something
it's
like
fairly
that.
soon. Yeah, the 12th or 13th, I think the
The
Paralympics
13th.
get started.
Right
And I
on.
mean, that's not quite the scale of the Olympics, but still we're talking about
Mm,
thousands of people, again, and they're going to be a different batch, a different crop of
right.
potential
I know.
spreaders and so on. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know. Are they correlated? I mean, suddenly we're having an uptick right now. And is that, do you think, from the Olympic uh,
I don't believe
influx
so.
or?
I don't believe so
Right.
because we've seen, I think it's just the fact that the Delta variant has at this time gained a foothold in Japan, right? Where before,
Mm,
for a period of time it was kept at bay to a certain extent. But
yeah. Yeah.
when the Delta virus hit England, there was a huge spike. When it hit America, there was a huge spike. When it hit India, there was disaster, absolute disaster, a
Yeah.
disastrous spike
That's
there,
right. That's right.
Um,
No, I
so
think you're right. I think you're right about that.
the good thing, but like I said, until now they've gone up extremely rapidly. These bumps, these spikes, these waves or whatever have gone up extremely rapidly and then come back down also fairly rapidly. But the one, we don't know if that's going to be the case again. And like I said,
Hmm.
each time it comes down, and then after another period of time, it goes back up again. And when it goes up again, every time so far, it's reached a higher peak on the next cycle. So
Yeah.
I don't I
Gosh.
don't know.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
No.
And it's record numbers now
Yep.
here in
Absolutely.
Japan. Oh my
Yep.
gosh. Really scary. And as a result of that, all my exams went online this whole
Mm,
week. Yeah.
yep.
All
Yep.
online, back online, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got mine tomorrow, and I had decided to go online a couple of weeks ago. I'd
Yeah.
already
You did.
decided. I just didn't
You
see. I
did.
mean, um,
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the world situation and the way things are happening, and just my suspicion. I mean, I wasn't predicting this kind of a spike, but I just had this feeling, and I just didn't feel that actually it was more like my particular test uh you know could be conducted basically just as well online as in the classroom, and so I didn't really feel that anybody was suffering by the decision to do it online, so that was a major consideration. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I was doing in person classes there for a while right
Mhm.
after uh, after Golden Week there for a few, since the end of June, I guess we were
Hmm.
back in person in the classroom, right? And I had planned to do presentations
Hmm.
in the in-person classes and a writing component also. So we're back online. So, but I had the students do video presentations actually,
Mm, mm.
which worked very well,
Yep.
uh,
Yep.
incredibly well. And I'm going to keep doing that, I think, right?
Yep.
Because they can look at it, they can redo it,
Yep.
they can look at the camera placement, right, and work on their voice and the content. So yeah, it was
Yep.
actually better than doing it in
Yeah.
class, right?
I think
Plus,
it
there was
actually.
a less stress factor.
Yes. Yes.
One problem is, of course, the other students can't see it, or as
Uh,
of now, they didn't do that. They just sent me the video.
mhm.
I'm thinking of actually having all the students watch them all eventually.
Yeah. I mean, depending on what platform you're using, but for
Mm,
example, Teams, there are files there, that files section there that you could actually put the videos there, or since we're all you're all in the same school, links
hmm.
to the videos and so on would probably be something that could be done. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I'll have
um
to investigate that. Due to time constraints, I just had them because
yep.
we switched suddenly back to online. Yeah, so I
Yep.
just had them send me. But
I mean,
yeah, I'm going to check into that.
yeah, I guess I'm always trying to look for the a bright side or something, but a couple of bright sides to this is
Hmm,
our students are a lot more computer savvy than they used to be,
absolutely.
which is a good thing. And a lot of the assignments actually do lend themselves very well to computer assignments, to online assignments, and so on. And
They
so
really do.
being able to ask them to do that now without the worry that, oh, are they going to be able to do this, because there's so few of them have actually used a computer or have done anything online except play games or listen to music or watch a YouTube video or
Indeed, watch
something.
YouTube video or what have
Right.
you, right?
But
No,
now.
there are definite positive offshoots
Yep.
of coronavirus. I mean, if you want to connect it to that, but yes, all
Yep.
students are more computer savvy.
Yep.
They figure out how to do these things, and yeah,
Yep.
I
Yep.
think it's that part is. I'm going to keep using that part.
Yep. Absolutely.
That part of the lessons of teaching from
Yeah,
now on. I think, yeah,
you were
yeah,
talking about the presentations, having doing recorded presentations and so on. I think, in my
yeah,
experience, I've always told my students before they do the presentations in the classroom, I always told them to spend, to have their presentation prepared a couple of days ahead of time and spend a day or two practicing, stand in front of the
definitely.
mirror and practice. And they never do.
Yeah,
They never do.
all
I
right.
see students, in the 5 minutes, 10 minutes between classes, they're getting there and they're writing the final touches to their, or sometimes
Yeah.
writing the bulk of their presentation, in the 5 minutes before class, right?
Oh,
Uh,
seriously. I mean, if presentations are in class, in person, that's what happens, right? I mean,
right.
in my experience, they're reading the script, right? Good afternoon. I'm going to talk about blah blah
Yep.
blah today, and or they're like this, right, with the
Yep.
script in front of their face.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So a positive outlook offshoot for me was actually, I think the students, once they viewed their own video, because I told them, please, watch it
Mm.
after you do it, watch it if the cameras, because a lot of students had a tendency to at first to put the camera very very too close to them, right?
Hmm. Uh-huh.
This presentation is things Japanese and English actually, so
Okay.
they have to present on some traditional Japanese item in English, like yukata or geita, right? Tea
Hmm.
ceremony things, right? And a few students were showing things right below the camera focus, and I actually had them uh, to do a few takes and look at it. And I think the fact that they were checking their own video really helped. What do you think?
Absolutely. I totally agree. And, I mean, evidence of that is, I mean, so I had them, the way I had them do it, they actually uh, met online, we were using Teams, and in their channel, they then recorded either their presentation or their conversation. I had a couple of different exercises for them to do. One was a conversation between 2 or 3 people. The other one was a solo presentation, but they did it in the same way. Within the channel, they just record the meeting, whether it was a one-person meeting, so they're basically recording themselves or whatever. But I had a large number of people that resubmitted, the
Mm,
videos. They did it and they looked at it, though, they realized it wasn't very good, and so they
yeah,
redid it.
that's
Um,
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
so that awareness is definitely a plus. Absolutely.
absolutely. Indeed, indeed. What do you have here? What's that data, Dan? Ah,
Oh, this is the same
Kansai.
thing. Yeah.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I just checked it. I went up here. I thought I saw it glitch or blip or something like that, and so yeah, now it's down to plus 54 because I guess they've rolled over to the new
Oh,
day, so now they're starting
all
the new
right.
day's data there, updated 12
Wow.
minutes ago now, right?
What
So
is that? 971,000?
971,874 confirmed. That's since the virus started. That's total.
Oh, okay, total.
So
Okay.
Japan hasn't
Right.
reached a million people uh,
Yet
contracting the virus yet, but we're on the
they
way
may
there.
do so. Yes.
Yeah, I
Getting
mean,
closer and closer.
10,000 a day. I mean, we saw there the where was that? The Looking at the last one here,
Wow.
so there was
Mm,
12,134 on July 31st, and then on August 4th it was 14,000. So anyway, the 7-day average is a 11,000 per day for the last week, right? 11,000 a day. So
yeah.
11,000, that's another 70,000. So I mean, it
Yes.
doesn't have to go a week. In another 3 or 4 days, we will be
Three or
over
four
a
days
million.
over a
Yep,
million.
yep, yep.
Yes.
Not
Crazy.
good. Not
This
good.
this is not good. Not good at all. And just what a terrible disease to happen right now. Just messes up everyone's lives.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we've heard, the comparisons to the Spanish flu and so on, which, some of them fit and some of them don't, obviously, but the Spanish flu, of course, they didn't have mRNA vaccines and things like that. And so it was a whole, in a lot of ways, a very, very different situation. But that went on for 3 years or more,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
so
that's right. That's right.
so we've only been at this, a year and a half. So
Year and a half. Right.
of course, again, like I said, we keep feeling that, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and about, every time we get there,
Yeah.
it's not. The tunnel seems to be a lot longer than we ever anticipated.
It's
So
like
we've
the
been
dangling carrot, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time we get closer, boom, the carrot just disappears. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be something we're just going to have to live with.
For quite a while, I believe. I mean,
Yes.
already Pfizer is looking for approval to their
Mm.
booster.
Hmm. Hmm.
One that will address the recent variants, is at least up to the Delta variant, more effectively, and so on. I think I anticipate that is going to be a thing. In fact, after the alpha and the beta had been out,
Hmm.
the UK and the South African variants came out, I just knew. I mean, I felt that was going to be an issue. That, even after, the number of cases had still were in the low millions at that point, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, okay, with that number of people, that have contracted the virus, and that many variants, being created, more infections mean more chances for mutations, and more chances for a
Mutations.
stronger,
Right.
more efficient, mutation to appear. I just felt that uh, you know boosters are going
Yeah.
to be part of our
Indeed.
life
Indeed.
for
Absolutely.
probably, 3, 4, 5 years at
Three,
least, I
four,
would say.
5 years
Yeah.
at least, right? And then at that point too, you were thinking, well, it's definitely going to hit Japan eventually, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I knew
was
that
thinking
was
that
a you know
too.
I knew that was
Of
a
course, we
matter of
didn't
time.
want it to, but we
Right.
knew it was inevitable, right?
Yeah. I remember I was in the Philippines. Well, I
Mm,
think you were in
yes,
America when the
I
news first
was.
came around,
I was in
about the.
America when the first case hit Washington.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was in Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and they started to talk about it a little more and more and more and more, right? And I was scheduled to come back through Incheon
Mhm.
Airport in Korea,
Mhm.
And I was advised by the university, my university, not to do that. Right. Or if I were to do that, they said I would have to quarantine for 2 weeks,
Oh, wow.
back in Japan. So I changed my flight, and
Yeah.
I actually got a credit towards a new flight
Oh,
because of Corona, right?
wow.
But I have to use it within this year. I don't
Whoops.
think from Korean Air. I don't
Yeah,
think I'm going to be able to do that. But I
yeah.
changed my flight to go from Dallas, Fort Worth to Narita
Mhm.
directly. So I came directly into Japan. And at
Mhm.
that point, not much was happening.
Right, right.
America had one or two cases. Japan didn't really have many at all. Maybe one, I guess. Right.
Right, right. And yeah, so that's the time, so I went to the Philippines at the very end of January, and that's when the
Yes.
first talk about, the virus in China was there, but basically it hadn't spread outside of China, or at least not anyway, not that I knew of. Everybody was watching China very carefully.
Hmm, hmm,
And
hmm.
but then, I got to the Philippines, and by the time I came back, it had spread to America. I think it had spread already to Japan. Oh, that's right. That cruise ship had docked in
Oh, that's
Japan.
right. That's
Yeah,
right. That's right. Right. Right.
yeah.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And
That's right.
so they were
Oh,
starting lockdowns in the Philippines, and I
yeah.
just made it out of the Philippines just in time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what I wanted to talk about or what I wanted to mention is that my brother-in-law,
Hmm.
wonderful guy that he is, Leo,
I
and
know
he was
Leo.
telling, he was
Great
telling me
guy.
the scuttlebutt, the belief at that time was, oh, because this was, February, January, February, December, January, February, when it was going around in China, and China is, a temperate climate. I mean, it gets cold in the wintertime, right? And the Filipinos had the belief that, oh, this is a cold weather virus. It's not going to come to
Mm,
Japan, or it's not going to come to the Philippines, right? We'll
right.
be safe here, and then that didn't that they woke up to that pretty darn quickly,
Yeah. That didn't pan out, did it? Right.
didn't that was not a good theory there. No, that didn't
No,
work out.
not at all. Not at all. Woo, oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, we're hopefully, going to get out of it alive,
Yeah,
unscathed. Let's hope, and this just makes sense to be sensible about it, right? To wear
absolutely.
masks and to do these things. On another note, it's beautiful weather here,
Yes.
albeit hot,
Yeah.
but it's really a beautiful day. Let me just show you my window here. Can you see? There's
Yep.
the beautiful view from the
Yeah.
window. Yeah,
Yep. Still nice and green out there.
still
Yeah.
nice and green. Yeah,
We have been
yeah,
getting a
beautiful
little bit of
day.
rain. It hasn't cooled anything off, but we have been getting a little bit
No,
of rain once in a while.
that's true. We get these evening rain showers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Suddenly.
That's the thing. Another difference between Japan and the Philippines. In Japan, in the summertime, when it rains, it changes it into even more humid, muggy type of heat. Whereas,
Totally. It really does. It's really sticky, huh?
yes, but in the Philippines, when it rains, as hot as it is in the Philippines, as warm as it is all the time in the Philippines, when it rains, it cools it off. There's a significant temperature drop in the Philippines when it
It's not
rains.
as humid down there, I guess, right?
Well, the humidity varies by the location and so
Hmm.
on. There are, the local, but I would say on average, of course, I don't know. I spent most of my time in Japan here in Kumamoto, which has a reputation for being one of the most stagnant air masses around the city. Our basin geography here, so that it gets particularly hot and humid in Kumamoto. Similarly to Kyoto, I guess it has the same kind of
Yes,
basin geography and so on.
that's right. The geography is kind
Yeah,
of surrounded by mountains, right?
yeah. When
So the air
I was only in Niigata
doesn't
for
go.
2 years,
Hmm.
but while I was in Niigata, we didn't have nearly the highest temperatures. I mean, it would get up approaching 30. It would get up to 30, but rarely would it exceed 30.
How
And
about
it
the
was
humidity?
not
Uh,
nearly as humid as it was here,
mm,
as it is
mhm,
here. Yeah,
mm.
yeah.
Right on. It's super humid here, isn't it? Oh
Yes,
man.
it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And it just makes you want to just jump in a pool,
Yeah.
jump in wherever you can.
Yep.
streams, rivers, natural swimming areas. Are
Yeah.
there natural swimming areas in Kumamoto, Dan? I've heard
N-
of a couple. I can't really remember.
Natural
Uh,
swimming areas, not that
yeah,
I know of. I don't know of any.
yeah.
No, I mean,
I've heard there was one past Eon Town Mall
oh, really?
around over there somewhere. Yeah,
Okay. Now, I
Can't be
mean,
sure exactly.
not in the city, but in Kumoto Prefecture, Kikuchikekoku, is a nice place to cool off.
Oh, it is. It is. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful place too. It's
Um,
Kikuchi Gorge.
right.
Great little rapids running through it.
Yep. Yep.
Beautiful area. And I've known people who have swum in there.
Yep.
I think against the rules, right?
Really? I see so
Or
many people's in the water there. I just assumed that it was okay. I
I
don't
guess
know.
it might be okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I waded in it. I wasn't actually swimming, because the water is actually quite cold.
Mm, yeah.
Uh, but used it as a refrigerator to cool the drinks and cool the watermelon, when we had a picnic down there and that produced nicely chilled drinks and watermelon and so on. Yeah.
Oh, sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to head over there again this summer.
It's been a long time since I've been to Kikuchi. Yeah.
Yeah. We went last summer actually, about a
Oh,
year
yeah.
ago actually,
Oh,
about
okay.
1 year ago.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
And it was great. It was really a very nice trip.
Mm. Well, that's a place. I mean, that seems like a reasonable location, even with the pandemic, at least being outdoors, and so on. Yeah,
Hmm.
that seems
Hmm.
like a great place to go. Actually, a really good place to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So did I tell you about our intensive English workshop here?
No.
Yeah, we had planned to. We weren't sure what we were going to do. We didn't want to have it all completely online, so we were going to incorporate a couple of field work days to
Hmm.
go for the students to go do some research in, for example, pollution, tourism, and health. And we
Okay.
were going to go to the Shirakawa Suigen, the
Oh, okay.
Shirakawa, yeah,
Right.
uh, the fountain,
Hmm.
Shirakawa, right?
Hmm.
Source of the Shirakawa River
Hmm.
in Aso, and there are various suigen up there
Right.
actually, and also around that area, right? And we're going to visit a few of those and go to Yusui Tunnel, right,
Hmm.
in Takamori,
Uh-huh.
and do a few other things up there. You know, we rented a bus, we ordered some bento, and we were getting our plan together, and boom, this wave, this COVID wave came,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
we had to reschedule that. So you know, everything's basically going to be online.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to go to planning, right? All
Yeah.
students, you know, walking around and doing some investigation, taking notes to everything kind of going online.
Mm.
It's challenging, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's just it's not obviously not the same experience, but
No,
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So they're just going to
it's
have to do research online on the internet, and they'll be doing presentations, right,
mm,
on the
mm,
internet online. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a different experience, but it's better than the experience
yeah,
of being hospitalized with COVID or something. So,
absolutely, right. It's true. Yes, indeed. Very true. Very true.
mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you're pretty much finished with Tokai University
I have submitted my
students.
grades. I'm pretty much
Wow.
done. Yep.
Wow. And so you're not going to travel around, yeah, this summer, I guess. Maybe you'll do day trips or.
I mean, until the Delta variant hit Japan, I was actually kind of hoping, I mean, my wife and I, Mercy and I were talking about doing a little bit of traveling, just taking a couple of days, a long weekend, or 4 or 5 days, and
Sure.
maybe,
Go to Takachiho or something, you
yeah,
know.
something like that,
Yeah, right.
or
We were thinking that too.
or even I don't think Mercy has been to Kyoto, and
Oh.
it's
Oh, you were
been
going to go out of Kumamoto.
I was thinking about it.
Right,
And like
right.
again, as
Okay.
I because when we are on the downside of that last wave, the previous wave before this one, I thought, okay, maybe we're out of the woods, and assuming that I mean she's already double vaccinated and I will be next week. I thought, okay, give a couple of weeks after that, I'm ready to take the
Mm.
risk of traveling. I don't feel like I'm taking my life in my hands then if I travel at that point. But with this
Mm.
new surge, yeah, that's kind of taking everything off the table there.
All right, shoot. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Maybe we should pray to the deactivate COVID gods.
That would,
Don't you
yeah,
know any Corona dances, Dan?
Corona dances. Yeah,
No
anti-Corona.
Corona. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah. We need.
You
Yeah,
look like you're going to Hawaii with that Hawaiian shirt there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I found out. Let's see. Found out that yeah. So Mike and the new employee here are going to be, you know,
M and L, I guess you
yeah,
could
yeah.
say.
M&L, yeah, are looks like they're going to be taking students traveling basically every year.
Yeah. Mike was saying that.
Yeah, yeah,
Mike was saying that, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Sounds like a
I'd
pretty.
love to get back to that too. My gosh, right?
Yeah,
Sure, absolutely, right.
yeah.
And I think we can eventually.
Eventually, yeah, eventually.
Like
Um,
you said, boosters are going to be a thing of our lives from now on, I think.
yep, yep. So those vaccination passports or whatever,
Yeah. I still have to get I don't have any definite plans of going anywhere, so I didn't get it yet.
right, yeah. Plus, I mean, it's almost valueless because Japan won't recognize their own vaccination passport. You still have
I
to
wondered about that.
you still have to quarantine whether you have it or not, when you come back to Japan.
Really? Oh
Yep.
gosh. Okay.
Plus,
Wow.
on top of that, that's really bad. But also, there's only a handful of countries that will recognize Japan's because Japan is not willing to reciprocate and recognize other countries' passports for the people
Oh
coming in
no.
here. Basically, Japan
Yeah.
is saying everybody has to quarantine the same.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that's, I guess, going to be a thing of the near future too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Spending two
sure that
weeks in a
Japan,
hotel.
you know how Japan is. They're always, a step behind. And, well, not always, but a lot of
Yeah.
times they're a step or two behind. So they will
They're,
come around
they're kind of
eventually.
overly cautious sometimes. I mean, it's good to be cautious, but they're
Yep.
overly,
Yeah.
right?
But Japan,
Uh,
like so many
but it's
countries,
good.
is, to a certain extent dependent upon a certain level of tourism. I
Mm,
mean,
yeah.
everybody recognizes the fact that that's, can't happen right now, but there is going to be pressure, by, the hotels and tourist organizations and so on that are going to, I think, eventually
Right.
change, the Japanese policies. But yeah, it'll
Yeah.
take a while.
Right. And now all bars have to close in
Right.
Kumamoto, right? And
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
yeah,
I know that's the worst blow. That's
it
the
is.
worst news that you could hear right there.
My old bar. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah, but and I think a certain number of restaurants or izakaya, right?
yeah.
Japanese drinking pubs have to close at least till the end of August, which
Right.
that's
Yeah,
going to take a
yeah.
financial
If
hit.
a restaurant serves alcohol,
Uh-huh.
they either they have to agree to not serve alcohol or they have to close. The same as a zakia, as a tavern or pub. Yeah.
Right,
Um,
right. Wow. Yeah, yeah,
those,
yeah. I guess that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
those that don't, serve alcohol, and there aren't very many actually. Most of them. I mean, you can go to these family restaurants and get a beer. So I mean, most of them
Yeah,
can
right.
serve alcohol, right?
I wonder, is Joyful serving alcohol now, or those family restaurants? There's
Now I don't think
Joyful,
they
there's
are.
Royal Host, there's
Right.
several others, but yeah,
Joyful Royal Host, yeah, what is that? Gusto, whatever.
yeah,
Uh,
Gusto, right?
uh,
Yes,
um,
I guess
uh,
they're not. They can't. Is that
right.
what
Not
I
not
understand?
right now. They can't. Yeah, not right now.
Mm,
They can't. So if they want to stay, they want to keep the doors open, they have to close the taps. Yep.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, oh, no. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too, though. Going
Mm.
out and hanging out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
With friends. It's
Yeah.
just can't do that really now.
Yeah, Jeff, I
Yeah.
imagine, it's got to be
Shoot.
kind of lonely there polishing off that bottle of red all by yourself there.
It is. That's what we have to resort to, man, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and the wife, we do a fair
Oh,
amount of drinking at
yeah.
home. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Yeah.
We're pretty efficient now at it,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah.
and then right? So,
Yeah.
uh, but then that's another thing, right? You're at home so much with your spouse or your families, right?
Hmm.
It's kind of like, you're kind of like, okay, I need to go to the office to get a little space,
Yep. Yeah.
sort of, right?
Yeah. I come to the office because I mean, with the heat the way it is here, I come to the office because if my wife's at work. I just as soon turn the air conditioner off at home, come here and use the school's electricity to run the air conditioner. It's a,
Mooching off the school,
that's right.
man.
It's an economic decision. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you though. I hear you. Sure, save some money.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So your wife works every day then, or does she ever
Um,
work weekends, or how does that work?
she works. Yeah, she works 6 days. Standard is 6 days a week. Yeah, she has Sunday
Oh, okay,
off. But
that's
every
a
once,
lot.
yeah, but every once in a while. But she only works like 5 hours a day or something like
Oh,
that.
okay. Hmm.
So yeah, so it's only half days,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
yeah, so um, which is enough. Of course, the the bad part about half days right now, she goes to work early in the morning before it starts getting hot, but she comes home at about the hottest part of the day. She's
Yeah,
she's
that's
getting
hard.
home about now.
Oh,
So
okay. Wow. Okay.
yeah,
And you're at the university.
yep, yep.
You should go see her, Dan.
She comes home and like I said, she's walked. She walks. To keep healthy and so on. So get the fresh air and everything. So she walks home. So she's sweaty when she gets home. She's tired from the walk. It's about a 30-minute walk, and so she just as soon have an hour or two to herself where she can sit back, relax, cool off a little bit, sit in front of the fan or whatever, and
Sure.
take your shower, a nice leisurely shower, and refresh a little bit. So if I'm not
That's
there,
good. Sure.
whether I'm there or not, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. She's going to be doing her own thing for an hour or two. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I see you got a high award from her.
yep, yeah. Oh, so she must be
Yeah.
home already.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was 14 minutes ago, so I guess she's
Okay.
home. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there you
Yep.
go.
Of course, she could have tuned in on her iPhone there and
Oh, okay.
sent an
That's
award.
true, I guess. Right. Sure,
Yeah,
sure, 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 sure.
she could have been walking. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's
So
another summertime without traveling. But usually I'd be getting ready to go somewhere.
yep.
Two
Yep.
years ago, I was getting ready to go to Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan,
Mm-hmm.
Kazakhstan, which was a fantastic trip. I'll never forget it. Yeah. And then, yeah, this year, my contact, a friend in Kyrgyzstan, who helped me travel, actually, is getting married, and she wants me to go to the wedding, right, uh, on August 28th.
Uh-huh.
This August 28th, right, a couple
Uh-huh.
weeks away. So I have to unfortunately tell her that it might be difficult this year.
I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
I was really hopeful there when I saw the numbers went up very quickly, but I was hoping that they were going to come down just as quickly. But it looks like we may have a few days or weeks possibly of a plateau of high infection levels here. So um, let's hope it doesn't stick around too long. But yeah, it's not looking the best right now.
Not looking tremendously good.
No.
No, 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 no. What are you pulling up now?
What am I pulling up?
Impossible questions?
Unanswerable.
This week's unanswerable questions. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
We did that one on last Saturday, which was fun.
Yep. Yeah. They proved to be pretty good. I searched through them. Some of them are kind of funky, but some of them I tried to pull out a few that I thought might be interesting. Shall we take a look?
Yeah, let's look at one this week. I have a meeting coming up after lunch, so
Okay.
uh,
All right.
maybe we'll go until 12 or a little thereafter if that's
All right.
cool.
A couple of these I don't think will take very long. I mean, they're just kind of interesting. But so like this one, if the fountain of youth can make you live forever, can you drown in it and still die? Right. So could you drown in the fountain of youth? Yeah.
Drowning in the fountain of youth. I think you can drown in the fountain of youth by doing too many youthful activities. Thinking as an old man, and it's funny, right? I read where was it? I read online that the one of the most common injuries of men over 50 is thinking that they can still do things they did when they were 20.
That makes sense. Yep. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true, right?
What was that Little Feat lyric? Your mind makes a promise that your body can't fill, or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, something like that, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
A fountain of youth can make you live forever. Wow, can you drown in it and still die? I guess you could actually.
Yeah. That
I
reminds me
mean,
of, yeah. Go ahead.
no, no, I was just going to say, but maybe not if you know how to navigate the water.
Yeah. I mean, if you've drunk, if you swallowed the water before you drowned, which is pretty likely, if you're underwater and you're breathing it in, you're probably swallowing it also. Now, if that is enough to implement the rejuvenating powers of the fountain, then yeah, you shouldn't drown, right? You
You
should
shouldn't
live.
drown,
It
right?
could be, it could be something like, you remember that old, who was it? Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep, and Bruce Willis.
I
Um,
do.
that movie where
Oh,
he was like
yeah.
a, what was he? He was a mortician or something like that, and they were these two beauties that were always competing against each other, and they they
Let me
they
look that up.
they took this chemical, they drank from this vial that gave them eternal life, but yeah, eternal life, but and eternal youth, but
Death becomes her.
death
Death
becomes her. That's
becomes
right.
her.
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
Okay.
But then it kept them from growing old, but they both were killed, or died. One of them fell down the stairs and broke her neck, and so that killed her. So her body wasn't alive, or but she was still alive, or whatever it was, through this potion. So she continued to live, but her
Right. They
body was
secretly
dead.
drink the miracle cure that prevents aging
Right? Yeah. So
and
they
turns
didn't.
them immortal.
Yeah.
Go ahead. But
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't age or whatever, but since they were dead, they were kind of like zombie like things or whatever. They dead, but they're because they didn't age, but they were dead, so their body didn't maintain itself or whatever. So they'd like their body would deteriorate even though they weren't aging.
yeah.
Because yeah. Anyway, it weird
Right, right,
idea.
right.
It was a
Okay.
weird
Yeah,
idea.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That was in the early 90s,
Yeah.
1992.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, wow. I
uh,
wasn't even in Japan then.
yeah. Oh, I just saw, what was it? I think it was the 1985 reboot of Twilight Zone. Um,
Yes, yes.
I was watching. I didn't watch it till the end. Something came up and I couldn't watch it till the end. But there was a Twilight Zone with Bruce Willis.
Really? Okay.
1985 Bruce Willis. The guy still had hair. That tells you how old it was,
Oh
right? Yeah,
my
yeah, how long ago.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. I can't remember the title of it, but Bruce Willis was in it, and it's interesting. He he's at a bar, and he's supposed to meet somebody, and he calls home. Now, this is right at the beginning, so it's not really a spoiler, but he's at this bar and he's waiting for his date or whatever, and so he means to call her, but he mistakenly dials his own number, and he's just about to hang up because, oh shit, I dialed my own number, and somebody answers,
Okay.
right? And he's talking to,
Yes.
"Hey, wait, oh, I'm sorry, I must have got a wrong number." He said, "Well, what number are you calling?" And he gave the number. He said, "Well, that's this number." Are they really? And anyway, finds out that the person that answered the phone is in his apartment, and it is him,
Oh,
right? So
wild.
he's
Okay.
so he's both at the bar and in his apartment.
Wow.
So
Okay.
anyway, that's how the episode starts. I haven't seen to the conclusion yet, but it seems like an interesting thing. Yeah, an interesting.
Is that, are you sure it's Twilight Zone
I think so.
or maybe Night Gallery? Because wasn't that like an offshoot of Twilight Zone, Night Gallery?
maybe it was, but
Hmm.
19.
Yeah. Yeah, I love those. I love those. I'm gonna look it up, right? Yeah,
Okay.
and check it out,
All
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Uh,
it was really really interesting. Yeah.
yeah, those are some that what a great show that was, huh?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Uh,
I
No, you're right. It looks like it was the Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Yeah, 1985. Okay.
Yep. Shatterday.
Shatterday.
That's
Yeah,
it. Yep.
Shatterday. Right, right. Okay, there we go. And there's a new Twilight Zone,
Yeah. Yeah.
by the guy who did Get Out.
Oh, is that him? Wow, he's changed a lot since he did Get Out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I like the new Twilight Zone.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen a couple of episodes. Yeah, but yeah, that guy. Yeah, I've seen 3 or 4 episodes, I guess. But
I
that,
mean,
yeah, that.
he wrote and produced Get Out,
Oh,
and
okay.
directed it. That guy. What's his
Okay.
name? I forget his name now. Yeah, but yes. Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, it's quite good. You might want to check it out.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
It definitely cool. Definitely cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Written and directed by
Jordan
Jordan
Peele.
Peele. Yeah.
Right. Jordan Peele.
All at
There we
the
go.
same time. Yeah.
All at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the beauty of having two monitors, right?
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I think this is an interesting question. And, if you're underwater in the Fountain of Youth, if you drink too much of it, you might die. And this is kind of what I was getting at earlier. If you try to have too many things that
Uh,
you
uh,
like when you're young, right? So if you're underwater and keep, accidentally or on purpose sucking in all the water, right? You may just drown, right?
Okay, so what I mean, similar to this, but okay, let's look at the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, we got the X-Men there, right? Okay, and one of the
Hmm.
X-Men is Wolverine. Okay, I guess he's actually died now, but Logan, right? Wolverine, who has this rejuvenating power, right? He can be, whatever his injuries are, or whatever, he, rejuvenates. Okay, what
Yeah.
if you took and you gave him cement overshoes, right? You chain his leg to a cement block and toss him into the ocean, right? And so he goes down
Right.
and he drowns, right? But his body rejuvenates and he comes back to life, but then he's still underwater, so he drowns again. So would that be like an infinite loop
Oh.
of him coming back to life, drowning, and
Yeah, I guess it would, wouldn't it?
that would be pretty torturing, I mean, well.
Interesting question. Yeah. Very interesting question. Yeah, so it is kind of like that. You're right.
Yeah, that's the because that's the image that I had. It's a fountain of youth, make you live forever, but you drown in it, so you
Drowned
drown,
and
so you die, but you
you
live
still
forever, so you come
still
back to
die,
life, and then die and
so
come
you
back to
come
life.
back to life. Right. Right. You
Yeah,
drink a lot, you die, you drowned,
yeah,
die, but yeah, come back to life.
yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of an interesting one. What about this
Yeah, it
one? Okay,
is.
if Cinderella's shoe fit her perfectly, then why did it fall off? Right? We all know the story, right? It's a perfect
Right.
fitting shoe. I mean, that's how the prince finds her at the end, right? He finds the girl whose foot fits perfectly in the slipper. And he knows that's her. Well, if it fit
Yeah,
perfectly, why did it fall off?
I have
Right?
an answer to this.
Okay.
It didn't fall off. She was looking for a prince to come and rescue her, so she kicked it off.
Okay.
She
All right.
shook it off, kicked it off, and she made it look like it fell off.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah. Those women can be manipulative, can't they? Yes.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, there you go.
All right. Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's better than my answer. My answer was, well, I mean, story wouldn't have been very interesting at the end there if it, if it didn't fall off, right? It's a
Right, right. Unless the prince was looking to give foot massages.
there you go. Yeah. Okay.
Would you like a foot massage? Would you like a foot massage? Would you like a foot massage?
But another thing, I mean, that's kind of a little bit interesting to me. The strange thing is, why did that glass slipper not revert to her regular shoe?
Oh, right.
Right?
After midnight,
The
you're
pumpkin reverts
talking.
back to a pumpkin. From the carriage to the pumpkin. The mice go
Mhm,
back to
mhm,
the horses go back to mice and all that. But
mhm, mhm.
okay, so I mean, it's not because it was connected to her because obviously the horse and carriage, were not part of her, wardrobe or whatever, right? So um anyway, that always seemed like a plot hole to me,
That
like
very good, Dan. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. Yeah,
that occurred to me the very first time when I was still young. It's like, oh, wait a minute, how come that shoe's still a glass slipper? That doesn't make
yeah.
sense. It never did make sense to me.
Oh yeah,
Well, anyway.
yeah. Let me. Is it? Yeah. Yes, that's right. Okay. The spell lifts. The slipper remains intact,
Right.
as does the one that is still on Cinderella's other foot.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's according to this here, right?
Oh,
In DisneyFandom.com,
okay. All right.
right?
So the
Yeah.
slippers, out of all the things, the slippers main pulse turns back.
Right, right. I wonder why that was. Yeah.
You can't write the story if it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe, I mean, maybe, maybe the slippers but they weren't something that into glass slippers. Maybe those were actually produced, separately by the fairy or and so everything else, the gown actually reverted back to rags, the horses reverted back to mice, the pumpkin reverted back to or the carriage reverted back to a pumpkin, but the glass slippers were created out
Created,
of,
yeah.
were created specially, and so there was nothing for
Special
them to
magic dust.
right, there was
Yeah,
nothing for
right.
them to convert back to or something.
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
All
And it's
right.
all in, isn't it, wouldn't that mean that would all be in how do I say, in terms or in impetus to get a prince,
Yep, there you go.
right? For
Absolutely.
the right.
Yep, yep. Still fits. Still fits. Yep.
Still fits, right? Yep.
All right.
Who taught the first ever teacher?
Yep.
Wow.
I mean,
Good one.
so
Good
this
one.
I mean, this is kind of interesting, but to me, this is to me the strange idea behind these, like the bar for lawyers or the AMA, the American Medical Association, and so on, or people examining other people for their doctorate degrees and so on. Now, wait a minute. Okay, so you need to be examined, in front of this board in order to become, to receive your doctorate, or you have to pass an exam or whatever created by people who are already, or you have to serve your residence as a doctor in order to be recognized. But wait a minute, the first doctor, said, hey, I know a lot about stuff, so I'm a doctor, right? I said, oh, but wait, this is a good gig. I don't want everybody to get in on this. So if you want to be a doctor, I've got to say that you're okay. I mean, it seems to me it's a Ponzi scheme,
I
I
think
mean,
it was yeah, I think it was something like that though, wasn't it? I mean,
and
because maybe he was recognized by his peers, as to know something,
but he's the first doctor, so he has no peers.
or maybe not peers, but other people.
Yeah, so yeah,
Maybe, wow, he's amazing,
right, but then they
he's
take it
smart.
upon themselves to say, okay, now, so you guys have said that, that I'm a doctor, right? So now I take it upon myself that nobody else but me can say that you're a doctor, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right, right, right.
that just
Yeah,
doesn't sit
that's
right with me. Again, you take it back to the beginning, and so the same thing with lawyers, the same thing with whatever, the or craftsmen, yeah, or whatever, civil servants, you have to pass this exam. Now, wait a minute, the first guy to become a civil servant didn't have to pass the exam because they didn't have the exam yet,
they
they
didn't
didn't have
have the exam yet.
or
Right, right, right.
whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, okay,
Well, there are
uh,
the old kind of philosophical thinkers, Confucius and
mm,
Socrates and whatnot, right? Who
mm.
kind of
Right, and that's
kind
my
of
point. I mean, they
professed what they know, and then other people said, "Well, that is interesting. That's amazing." Yeah,
right. So
right.
so
So
why now do we have to have some institution, that's accredited to say that, okay, yes, you have such and such a degree? I mean, why can't we have, why can't it be that, the people look at us and say, hey, we like what this guy says. This guy is knowledgeable, more knowledgeable than we are. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, this because obviously it started somewhere, and wherever it started, whoever granted that degree didn't have a degree themselves because we're granting the
Yeah.
first degree, so
Right. Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Interesting. Yeah, and it's probably happens somewhat like that. Do you think that that has anything to do with kind of people's distrust in science or distrust in higher education or academia? Kind of
it
people
might.
say
I mean,
like,
that might be a contributing factor. Sure.
yeah, right. People say like, well, what does he know? Okay, he went through
Mm,
university, whatever. He just
mm,
got this piece of paper, but I
mm,
know a lot too, or
mm,
what have you, right?
mm. I mean, it seems to me. I mean, I don't have a PhD, but you do, right? I know, but it seems
Yeah.
my impression of these higher degrees, the PhDs and so on, the doctorates or the JDs, for lawyers and so on. That I mean, it's just it's like a initiation into a club, right? They make you jump through these
Yeah.
hoops, but I mean, it doesn't mean that you actually know any more than anybody else, but you've
Well,
satisfied the criteria. You've jumped through our hoops, and so we'll give
yeah.
you the letters after your name.
Right. A lot of things, for me, it turned out to be calling cards, right?
Hmm.
Like if you have this, you can do more things, right?
Hmm.
You can get employed here or there, or you can, be and be employed at a higher level. You can
Right.
get
No, I
promoted, etc. Right.
I understand
So
that.
they're calling cards,
I
right? So
understand that.
without
That's
it, you wouldn't be able to do some of those
No, no, no.
things
I
that,
don't dispute
yeah,
that at all, and I understand that completely. That having those letters after your name, that piled higher and deeper, actually, has it opens doors. It has some meaning, because people have agreed to recognize that,
right.
but the people that are granted those are not necessarily any more in the know about that given topic
No.
than people that don't have those. It's just that those people that got those initials after their name have agreed to jump through the hoops that this certain group of people have decided to
Yeah,
put them through.
you're absolutely right,
Yep.
right? Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I mean, there's people who, want to do that work and, as you said, jump through those hoops, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Sure, sure.
Yep.
And I think anyone can do it. Anyone can get a
Oh,
PhD.
certainly,
Anyone
certainly.
can get a PhD. Anyone can
Yeah,
get a master's, anyone can get a PhD.
absolutely. I agree.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe
Just
not
putting in the time.
absolutely everyone, but yeah, definitely
Yeah,
a lot
a,
more than do. Yeah,
a lot more than
absolutely.
do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it just takes that little,
I
going
mean,
the extra mile. And of course, a lot of people in very expensive universities, are still paying right after graduating and after, getting jobs and whatnot. They may be paying for a long time
yep.
for that education, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
We're
it
fortunate
depends.
being in Japan where
Mm,
educational costs are high, but it's still more reasonable than other countries I can think of.
totally, totally. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
One particular one with three letters in
yeah,
its
that's
name.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
great. That's a good question. Who taught the first ever teacher?
yeah,
Maybe you did, Dan, I think,
yeah.
in your previous life.
That's it. Yep. Professor Dan. Yep. So, all right, here, this is the last one for today. Okay.
Okay.
So, if
All
life
right.
is so short, why do we do things that we don't and like so many things that we don't do?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
life is
true.
short. Everybody, life is short. So you do what So all right. So why do we, do these things that we
Yeah.
really don't like? Yeah.
I think I try to do a lot of things that I want to do or that I like.
Mm.
Uh yeah, sometimes things are just unavoidable and you have to do them, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh
but I mean, but there, I mean, I guess, so being at a university and being required to attend Kyojukai, where the majority of the time spent in the Kyojukai is at best tangentially related to me, and a lot of it has almost, I mean, it's maybe general information about the university that I maybe should be interested in, but it doesn't really affect my
mhm,
ability to do my job. And other departments, what they're
mhm.
doing or what they, and so on, I really don't need to know that, and yet my time is being taken up. And like this is, life is short. Why should I spend an hour and a half once a month, even if it's only an hour and a half once a month? Why should I waste an hour and a half once a month for something that really has no benefit to me that I don't want to do.
There you go, Dan. You said it. You hate faculty meetings.
Yep. Yep. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've only got about 5 more, so I guess I'm, you know, so
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, I understand. Sure. And I think that's part of the job, right? And yeah, but you're right. I know it's
it's part
very
of the
time
job, but
consuming.
that doesn't really justify it to me. I mean, why is it
Yeah.
part of the job?
Well,
What, what is
yeah.
their thinking, that made them do that, to
Yeah,
implement that?
yeah, 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 yeah. Sure, sure, sure. Yeah.
I
No,
mean, it seems to
absolutely,
me that
right.
those kind of policies should be put into place in order to promote some end, and I
Or
don't
to
see
help
what, you know
teachers as a whole, or teachers individually, right? I've been
right.
in Kyojikai where there's been things that don't pertain to me at all, right?
Mm,
At all. And they probably never will, right? Or
right.
would, right? So yeah,
Exactly.
in
That's
that
my
case,
point. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Hmm.
been a little bit better, and this is another thing that I hope continues, although I've seen some indications that it's going to end, but the online Kyojukai, I mean
Right.
that makes sense, so you can have that on in the background while you're eating your dinner, or while you're watching
Yeah,
Netflix
sure.
on the other device or something,
Daniel, I'm telling on you, man.
but the point is
No, you're right.
they
Right.
always give
Yeah.
you a
Hmm.
PDF, or when they used to have the physical,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
actual in-person meetings, they give you a printed copy, which
Hmm.
I also thought was ridiculous. They print out, they're wasting all this paper to give
Hmm. Hmm.
everybody a physical copy of material that really, like we just said, doesn't affect the
Uh-huh.
majority of the people, right? It only apply, it only really affects, and so again, in this day and age, I can see where this might have been something that needed to be done. It would have been more work than it was worth
Hmm.
to distinguish between who needs to come for this bit and who needs to come to that, and so on. Make sure that everybody gets the needed information. Yeah, do it like that. But
Hang on, Dan.
yep,
Got a phone call here. Hang on.
sure. You know, um, but so it seems to me that now that we've seen what we can do with the internet, you know, we don't need to give printed files. We can give digital forms, PDF or text files or whatever. PDF is probably the most efficient. You know, give people those kind of give the people the digital file so that they can read through the information to themselves. They can sort through and find the information that is pertinent to them and skip over that is not. I find it hard to believe that. I mean, my experience has been that it is not every month that information that is necessary for my work appears in the Kyojukai. Um, I mean, I would say every month there's information that appears that is interesting to me, and I'm actually generally glad that I spend some of the time in the Kyojukai. The thing is, I mean, everybody, the way it is now, everybody attends from the beginning to the end. I mean, that's especially with the face to face, in person meeting. That's the only reasonable way to do it. You don't want to have people wandering in late and coming out, and you don't know exactly how long things are going to take, and so on. So it in a way it makes sense, and I guess from a certain perspective, it's the only reasonable way to do things is the way we do it. But yeah, especially when uh, myself being in a department or part of a center that is not involved in a lot of the things that are discussed, or being part of a general education program as opposed to one of the major departments and so on. The perspective is different, and again, people in, for example, uh, the humanities, um, the departments right there may have something in common that wouldn't necessarily apply to the more science or engineering departments, and so, but yet people set through things. I mean, we do one thing we do have, the engineering versus the agriculture as two different kyojukai, but still, as a general education instructor, um, the majority of that
Yeah.
information is not really pertinent to me.
let me just include on that. I was in the faculty, right, of environmental science.
Mhm.
Now I'm still in the Department of Environmental Science, but the overseeing faculty is now the General Education Center in my case.
Ah,
So I only have to go to those faculty meetings, which are great because it's all about English study. It's all about, basic skills studying, and just that's along my lines.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and it seems to me that, I mean,
But Dan, oh, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. The smaller groups, the more focused, groups, the
Yeah.
more focused meetings and so on, much smaller, probably necessarily much shorter. Maybe not. I mean, if you have an in-depth discussion going on about something that's vital to that particular segment of, the program, that, yeah, it makes sense that it would go to even more depth, which you really can't do at these mass kyojukais and so on. That makes sense. I mean, I can see a couple of times a year, maybe at the beginning, or maybe beginning and end or something like that of each semester. There's a certain amount of information that basically all the teachers need, and so on. But the majority
Mhm.
of the majority of the meetings are not really necessary for everyone to be
Mhm.
participating in. Yeah, that's just my
I think
opinion.
that's a large feeling in American culture too, American business culture. I think lately they've been trying to have very short meetings,
Mm,
shortened meetings. I've been reading a lot about that.
mm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Dan, I'm gonna have to take off, and thank you very much, man.
Yep, yep. Yeah, so anyway, that's
Are you gonna stay on a little bit, or are
I'll
you
probably
gonna
end
close
up,
it down,
yeah,
or
probably close it down, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Mercy's home. She's been home for an hour,
okay?
so I think probably I'll take off pretty quick here. Make sure I'm set up for my
Yeah. Thank you for
test
watching.
tomorrow. Yep. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you
me too. I have to
for
be
joining
about
me,
to do
Jeff,
that
here.
too.
Yeah. You gonna do something later?
You're
You got
welcome,
something?
Dan. Maybe, yeah. Let me see how time goes.
Yeah, I
I've got
mean,
a
yeah,
meeting at
it's
1 o'clock about a homepage,
uh-huh.
and maybe a couple things after that. But yeah,
Okay.
let's see how it goes.
I mean, Thursday is your usual
I'll
day,
keep.
you know.
That's right. That's right. Maybe like 4-ish, 4:30-ish.
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
foresee anything
Yeah.
around then.
Let me know. I'll drop in if you want me to. If not, then yeah, next time. Huh?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All
I
right.
think it'll
Thanks,
work out.
everyone. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Jeff, and I'll see
Thanks,
you next
everyone.
time. Come back
Thanks,
again.
Dan. Okay.
Subscribe.
Yeah,
Bye
yeah, yeah.
bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks.